Jurors heard testimony from a key prosecution witness in Sean Diddy Combs' federal trial in New York City Tuesday. His ex-girlfriend and singer Cassie Ventura spoke about her 10-year relationship with Combs and the psychological, physical, and abuse she says she endured. Ventura first leveled accusations against Combs in a 2023 lawsuit, which was settled a day later. Dozens of men and women have filed suits against him since 2020.
We hold our breath as the courtroom falls under a heavy hush, trembling beneath the weight of Cassie's quivering confession. The fluorescent lights reflect every trace of fear dancing in her eyes while we lean in, afraid to miss even a single word. She doesn't yell, she barely whispers, but those words explode like thunder. Specific coordinates, latitude and longitude, pointing to a hidden chamber beneath one of Sean Diddy Combs' extravagant properties. A chill crawls down our spines, those whispers about secret doorways and soundproof chambers. Now they're permanent. On record, the stenographer's fingers falter, pausing like even she can't believe a nightmare's blueprint was just revealed.
Just last week, federal agents raided 2 homes of rapper and music mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs in Los Angeles and Miami. Combs is the subject of a federal investigation.
Outside, Outside, chaos erupts. Reporters stampede across the courthouse steps, shouting into live feeds, their voices cracking like glass. This feels less like a trial and more like the climax of a gothic thriller. Satellite trucks jam the streets, antennas rise like steel trees, and news anchors scramble to keep pace with every twist. Cassie's words aren't just courtroom drama, they're explosive. Those whispers of secret tunnels, shadowy parties with no rules. Now they've grown teeth. We can feel the Diddy legal team's panic, frantically digging through decades of NDA files, flashing fake smiles that no longer stick. And when the judge's gavel slams like a hammer on stone, it's clear the ground beneath Diddy's empire just shifted.
Srika, how would you describe Cassie's demeanor when she took the stand today?
When she walked in there, Rachel, she had on a brown dress, form-fitting, visibly pregnant, head held high, and did not make any eye contact.
We rewind the past Diddy on late-night shows, smirking about his obsession with custom locks, laughing about real parties needing privacy. We laughed too. Now we freeze. House staff once murmured about tunnels to nowhere. Was it a joke or something darker? Interior designers gossiped about hidden staircases. In 2016, a blueprint surfaced under an LLC with no listed business, showing underground corridors wide enough for golf carts. Then, the rumor, the passage forks toward another Alistair's estate, land once owned by Hugh Hefner. Our minds reel. If those walls could talk, would they drop a beat or scream?
As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than
slide in. We descend into the imagined silence of that tunnel called concrete, a faint mechanical hum, the echo of a gate shutting. A guest goes in, but do they leave? Online sleuths dig deeper, layering satellite maps, spotting half-buried skylights. Drone operators claim they picked up late-night heat signals when the house was supposed to be empty. An escape route for a billionaire or something far more grim than it hits. A source inside federal ranks reveals that agents once followed a tip, a shipment of reinforced doors traced to Diddy's mansion. They briefly entered the basement inside. Gloves, name tags, containers of baby oil. No crimes confirmed, but nothing felt right.
Yeah, that's trying a criminal case in the modern times. A lot of evidence is on electronic devices, cell phone, tablets, computers, things of that nature. And the devices, especially if you have like external hard drives, 90-something terabytes of data on a single device makes me think it's some type of hard drive. That takes weeks to go through just for one device on it.
Just when the tension begins to settle, Cassie drops another bomb. She's pregnant. How far along she won't say, but the courtroom tilts again. If true, her unborn child becomes the heartbeat of her courage, fueling her need to expose whatever still lurks beneath that house. Protection and revelation fuse into something unstoppable. Her eyes lock with Diddy's, his jaw clenched, his fists coiled like armor. Outside, the media frenzy goes nuclear. Hashtags multiply, memes flood timelines, guests from old parties post disclaimers. Threads surface connecting exclusive party lists to private island airstrips and conspiracy bloggers. They're drawing red string maps across bedroom walls, trying to make sense of it all.
Window into Cassie's side of the story. There's a video that people may have seen. It was aired by CNN years ago. It's become a video at the heart of this case. That's security footage from the Intercontinental Hotel in 2016, where there appears to be Sean Combs assaulting Cassie Ventura. You see him.
Then the shadows stretch further back to the infamous Playboy Grotto. We remember the rumors, celebrities disappearing into steamy stone-carved halls. Some now say those tunnels inspired Diddy's secret designs. Former staff confessed that Grotto had exits hidden even from employees. A network of architects rumored to create private pleasure labyrinths for the elite. How many others exist? Have we seen just one serpent head of a multi-chambered hydra? And then, the phrase pizza box ignites like code. At first it sounds silly until we learn the FBI monitors such slang. A text from Diddy allegedly reads, "Get rid of the leftover pizza boxes," on its face, meaningless. But in the twisted dictionary of trafficking, pizza can mean something unspeakable. We wish it weren't true, but in this world, even a
You
lunch
gotta do your due diligence, and
Yeah.
his team should have did the due diligence. And a lot of times people do slip through the cracks. There's things that you don't see and don't find out until later on. But I mean, when people are making claims like the way people are making claims, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that if you're having that person on your platform, which is a huge platform, that you're putting out the proper and correct news.
Online sleuths pause paparazzi footage from the day federal agents stormed Diddy's LA estate. They zoom in on sanitation trucks being turned away, housekeepers rushing armloads of flattened boxes into open fireplaces. One clip even shows a butler tossing cardboard into a courtyard incinerator, nervously glancing behind him. We can't confirm anything, but our gut clenches. When the wealthy scramble this fast to torch simple recyclables, we have to ask, what secrets were stained into that grease-soaked corrugate? Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team fires back, calling the Mon Act charges a racist relic, shouting that no white mogul has ever faced this type of federal dragnet. Part of us understands the history they reference, but another part wonders, are they really afraid of court or the tunnels? Because if those walls could talk, they won't care about legal nuance. They'll just expose everything.
To reiterate what is a freak off, the freak off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism, wanting to watch her have with someone else. And she said that she did it because she was 22, 21, she was young, she didn't know any better, and that she wanted to please Sean Combs.
We can't forget
Jane, the ex-lover, testified with raw clarity 3-day sessions she called hotel nights. Meticulously orchestrated encounters ending with Diddy sneering, "You're taking that D." She said he demanded no protection, and she would mentally detach just to get through it. Her voice cracked when the prosecutor asked why she didn't leave on. She sobbed, "I don't know. We understand trauma hijacks logic, it freezes victims in place. Her pain clings to us like static." Then there's Brianna Bungalan, who said Diddy held her over a 17th floor balcony growling. He was the devil. We pictured the wind snapping, her hair as the lights of LA blurred beneath her feet. That kind of threat can imprison a soul, but she lived, and she testified. Her voice shattered the illusion that everyone in Diddy's world was willing. Some were prisoners in diamonds. On day 22, Diddy wants unshakable looks worn. Courtroom artists sketch him scribbling furiously. Is it legal strategy, or secret sins he never expected to face? Then he murmurs to his co-counsel, "Just make sure all the leftover pizza boxes are gone." The courtroom hears it. The internet spins.
I thought was also interesting, and she said that after that first freak off, she said she felt dirty. She didn't want to do it. And when she brought up the idea of having a conversation about the freak offs in an email, which the jurors saw, she said she backpedaled in the email because Combs responded by saying, "I know, you don't want to do it." And she said, "Oh no, well, it's not that." But that was the beginning. That was in
while the prosecution's
As prosecutors pile up graphic texts and hotel surveillance, the defense clings to a familiar script. It was all consensual. But whispers float through the courthouse, quiet payoffs, veiled threats, warnings to execs, stay loyal or be black. We recall the alleged $100,000 payment to erase Cassie's bruises from security cam. Archives cash bundled in a brown paper bag that now feels like a cursed artifact of this scandal. Our minds drift from court, back underground. The tunnel's a real heartbeat of this mystery. A leaked blueprint, unconfirmed but detailing, shows a private elevator descending from a mirrored closet to a pool service corridor. At its end, a door marked maintenance only, but rumor claims that's a decoy. Beyond it, a half-mile tunnel ending in a padded chamber. Was it a panic room, or a final destination for trafficked victims? Every theory makes our stomach twist.
But she was only on the stand for about 30 minutes, and the big takeaway is this story that she tells regarding the email she got from her daughter in December of 2011. This is where Cassie Ventura writes her mother and another person explaining or expressing that Sean Puffy Combs, she said, threatened to put out explicit videos of her. Again, this is around the holiday time, and also saying that he would do something to the person that she was.
we glance at the wider horizon.
Zooming out, we watch Hollywood's elite retreat. Agents quietly wipe years of yacht photos. Fashion brands adjust ad campaigns to crop Diddy out. It's clear, the industry smells smoke. But can it escape the flames if this scandal engulfs more names? Because if even one of those tunnels links multiple estates, more celebrities may tumble into the abyss. Then Boom attorney Tony Busby holds a press conference. He says he represents over 120 survivors. He teases names, texts, photos, some involving minors as young as 9. The room tightens. He calls out the enablers, those who helped and says anonymity is being peeled away like stained wallpaper. We shudder as our minds run wild. Red carpet darlings, philanthropists, reality stars now possibly facing subpoenas. As he speaks, reporters glance at phones and other ripple hits. Diddy is suing NBC for $100 million over their documentary that mentions missing minors and secret tunnels. He calls it outrageous lies, but the fear in his voice cuts through the legal lingo. This isn't a PR battle anymore. The fault lines under his empire are splitting.
I think, we have seen many photos, videos of Sean Combs, aka Diddy, through the Associated Press, through Instagram. And so to see him kind of in person after being in jail for 3 weeks now was pretty interesting, to say the least. And I say that by being that you would expect him to feel a little defeated, a little gaunt, anything like that. But it wasn't that case. He appeared confident.
We watch as federal
marshals escort Diddy to Brooklyn's MDC, placed in the special housing unit after his $50 million bail was denied. Inmates whisper his nickname, Legend, but we see him awake, staring at cell walls that resemble his alleged tunnels. Solitary, confinement grinds like concrete scraping against itself. Does he feel the same chill he designed for others? Does he worry what investigators will unearth beneath his legacy? Our thoughts flash to a real estate listing Beverly Hills compound, just weeks before the raid. 12 beds, 15 baths, infinity pool with underwater walkway. At the time it was described as whimsical. Now we wonder, was that just one gleaming piece of a darker path? A rapper offloading property in a rush? We read between the Zillow lines. And still, the pizza box code haunts us. Reddit threads track pizza deliveries to Diddy properties, overlaying maps, matching them to wild after parties. We want to dismiss it. Coincidence? Maybe. But sometimes, horrors hide in harmless packaging.
I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers. These are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it. So
can you speak about your concerns about the leak and the video? You've not spoken about that.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers. As you guys all know, let me just finish. As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than live up.
Even longtime allies are now hinting at buried truths. A retired producer tweeted that Diddy once toasted a major contract, saying the tunnels will save us if the media ever gets too close. The post vanished within minutes, replaced by a polished apology, but we grabbed a screenshot, because screenshots are time capsules. In the distance looms the shadow of Jack Johnson, boxer prosecuted under the same Mon Act Diddy's lawyers now call racially weaponized. We honor history's painful echoes, but we also note that Diddy's prosecutor, Damian Williams, is the first black U.S. attorney to lead that district. The conversation about race and justice is deep, but this script isn't courtroom academia. It's about tension and timing. As the defense launches smoke bombs, the prosecution drills beneath literal concrete. We flash to that hallway camera, the punch, the kick, the flying object. Diddy later issued a video. My actions were inexcusable, but words can't silence the echoes trapped in walls. Corridors store sounds, and now every whisper we've heard is screaming.
Why is because they gathered so much evidence. Was supposedly they gathered so many videos and laptops and also electronic.
Even longtime allies are now hinting at buried truths. A retired producer tweeted that Diddy once toasted a major contract, saying, "The tunnels will save us if the media ever gets too close." The post vanished within minutes, replaced by a polished apology, but we grabbed a screenshot, because screenshots are time capsules. In the distance looms the shadow of Jack Johnson, the boxer prosecuted under the same Mon Act Diddy's lawyers now call racially weaponized. We honor history's painful echoes, but we also note that Diddy's prosecutor, Damian Williams, is the first black U.S. attorney to lead that district. The conversation about race and justice is deep, but this script isn't courtroom academia. It's about tension and timing. As the defense, then like chaos, wants to stretch itself, another leak erupts. From a Miami forensics lab, techs allegedly discovered microfibers from clothing that matched youth sizes on items taken from Diddy's private jets. No DNA match yet, but the evidence was flagged. We feel our throats close. Where does that thread lead? We imagine a secret task force deep inside Homeland Security agents pinning satellite shots to boards, mapping mansions, logging jet fuel usage, syncing social media timestamps. They comb through tax records, mark structural repairs, wondering if those funds built more than Patheos. Warrants loom. Celebrity hideouts may soon become federal dig sites. Smoke bombs. The prosecution drills beneath literal concrete. We flash to that hallway camera, the punch, the kick, the flying object. Diddy later issued a video. My actions were inexcusable, but words can't silence the echoes trapped in walls. Corridors store sounds, and now every whisper we've heard is screaming.
Talking about her experience in that video, how she had a big movie premiere that was coming up, and what had happened was they were engaged in a freak off, that she didn't really want to be a part of, and Combs had punched her. She knew she had a black eye. She felt she had to get out of there, so she waited for a moment when he was occupied. She said he may have been on the phone, in the shower.
And through it
all, Cassie's coordinates glow on the map like radioactive warnings. Those numbers may soon be burned into history like Watergate's phone number, because if excavations begin and hidden rooms are revealed, the fallout will be nuclear brands clinging to Diddy's legacy will vanish. Labels will delete discographies, streaming apps will ghost decades of hits. A musical empire built on platinum might crumble under whispers. But there's a darker layer. What if Diddy didn't act alone? What if this was a network? We scrolled through old red carpet moments, him shoulder to shoulder with moguls who built compounds beyond drone range. We replay award speeches where the circle gets thanked, a coded nod. Perhaps Cassie tipped the first domino, others may fall fast. A fashion mogul linked to masked parties in Venice, a streaming boss with a desert estate and rumored underground vaults. Every hour spins new headlines. A drink brand suspends deals. An R&B icon deletes old selfies with a caption, "Protecting my peace." Critics debate if removing Diddy verses from remastered classics is censorship or justice. Meanwhile, online theorists sketch connections between his tunnels and ancient catacombs beneath the Vatican. Because once you open one hidden door, you start wondering how deep the maze really goes.
It is a big part of the case in reference to this notion that she was forced into it. And remember, the criminal enterprise and the racketeering, according to that indictment, is about him using force and threats and arson and all of these things they said for his desires. So that's why I think a lot of what we're hearing are these details.
We pan back to Cassie, now vanished. No sightings in weeks. Some say she fled overseas. Others whisper witness protection. We imagine her somewhere quiet, possibly cradling a growing bump if the pregnancy rumor is true, whispering to that unborn child, "I fought monsters so you wouldn't have to." Her silence now speaks louder than any headline, because some survivors disappear to reclaim their power. And we, the watchers, are left breathless. Excavation teams might already be breaking ground. Lawns turned into evidence fields. We refresh live streams of courthouse steps, wondering will truth erupt tonight, or fester for years. One thing's certain, no celebrity kingdom has ever tilted this violently. The music that crowned Diddy now sounds like a ticking clock. We close our eyes and see that tunnel wet humming, lights flickering, and wonder who walked it, and whether the walls, at long last, will speak. Because tunnels don't plead the fifth, they reveal what time forgot.
Most importantly and most notably, when he walked inside the courtroom, the first thing that he looked at was his family. As soon as he saw his family, he just lit up. Another thing to note too is he wasn't shackled, but he was wearing a khaki prison-like jumpsuit when he appeared inside court, and his family appeared on their end very just happy.
The gavel will strike soon, but even a guilty verdict might feel small next to what lies buried. We brace for more, servers full of digital confessions, whispered voice notes recorded by people convinced no one would ever listen. This case isn't just about Diddy, it's about unchecked power, about architecture with no exits, about what happens when stardom devours morality. And now we stand on the edge of revelation. The coordinates may still lead to a vault of truth or a darker chamber implicating names we haven't dared to say out loud. So buckle up, drop your theories in the comments. Charge your flashlight, because in this story, the shadows are still moving. Until next time, stay sharp, stay fearless, and stay tuned.